Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician, and this is Holomancer.
We are still reporting live from the abandoned carriage of Madame Lazul. Unfortunately, all of our expectations came true. Dalaran was attacked by the League of Evil. The battle lasted for over a week, but we have underestimated the perfidy of these villains. Oh, dear viewers, it looks like we just got a record right from the crime scene.
Together, we shall rule Dalaran!
Dalaran, to arms! Defend the city!
Let's blow this place!
Together!
Who the king? I the king!
Do you smell something burning?
This is truly outrageous.
Rise of Shadows is the first expansion of the Year of the Dragon. The standard rotation always causes the biggest changes to the meta, but this one is special. First of all, there was a massive Hall of Fame rotation.
Secondly, all of the sets that came out last year had weak synergies. Finally, Rise of Shadows introduced many new ideas for decks. This set is now the basis for creating all archetypes. This is the first time such an all-encompassing change has happened.
It is not an exaggeration to call the Rise of Shadows one of the most epic chapters in the history of Hearthstone. This expansion didn't just turn the meta game upside down, but it also has a good chance of becoming the most expensive set in the game.
Sorry, my name is Dora. I am.
Yes, we already know you. You are the daring reporter.
Yeah, right. Are you serious? Do you really think that this set is that influential?
Soon you will find out the answer to your question. Have a little patience.
To help you navigate the early stages of the new meta, we've put together the best decks for Rise of Shadows. We have also prepared a list of the best new legendary cards, and identified the influence level of the new set.
Let's start with the most interesting part, a brief overview of the new set. During the first days, we closely followed new decks, and collected statistics from HSreplay. Through this, we were able to record the incredible popularity of the new set.
Come on. What's the big deal? Each new set is very popular immediately after release.
Yes, you are right. But as a rule, in the first 3-4 days, players are actively experimenting with new cards, after which there is a steady decline in the popularity of the new set. Now everything is different. The new set's impact on the game increases with each new day.
According to the results of the first week, the Rise of Shadows is the most popular set in the game, with 27% popularity. Here are the top 3 most popular legendary cards and top 5 epic cards.
A new set was able to overtake the popularity of cards from the classic set. This is the first time this has happened in almost 2 years of monitoring. This is an incredible result.
Currently 103 out of the 135 cards introduced are being used in competitive play.
This means that 76% of the cards are involved. On the screen you can see the number of cards, which are distributed by rarity. Pay attention to epic and legendary cards. It shows the number of cards that have more than 1% popularity. For example, 15 epic cards now have more than 1% popularity. This is an extremely large number.
The popularity of all legendary cards is 39%. All 23 legendary cards are used with varying popularity in the meta decks, and 18 of them have more than 1% popular.
The most popular legendaries are Archivist Elysiana and Archmage Vargoth.
Of course, the situation is changing very dynamically in the first weeks after the release, but we can already identify some trends. First of all, the developers did not trick us. They really are trying to get rid of universal cards that fit all styles of gameplay.
Most of the new cards have quite a narrow application, and this is very cool. Secondly, all new legendary cards have a moderate level of power. They are able to overall strengthen a deck, but they do not make it overpowered on their own. One exception to this is Blastmaster Boom. This card makes too many boom bots. Also, we got Archivist Elysiana. Not only can she save you from fatigue, but Elysiana is also great against the Bomb Warrior match. If you're low on cards and there are a few bombs waiting to blow you away, Elysiana can eliminate that threat and keep you in the game.
This approach from the developers makes the game much more interesting, but on the other hand, causes deck building to become extremely expensive if you like variety. In these conditions, it is practically impossible to collect a collection of playable legendary and epic cards if you are a free-to-play player, because almost all cards have potential and have already found their place in the game.
Of course, it is too early to draw final conclusions, but it can already be determined that the Year of the Dragon will be completely unique in Hearthstone.
Our readers expected an increase in the influence of cards from Rastakhan's Rumble after the new expansion's release. Did their expectations come true?
Unfortunately, nothing has changed. We urged Azeroth residents not to invest gold in Rastakhan's Rumble, and we were right. This is the worst set at the moment.
Before we announce the best decks, we need to tell you about Zilliax. This legendary card has always been very popular, but after the release of the new expansion, it is used twice as much. According to our statistics, 42% of popular decks use this card. This is the most popular card in the game. All 9 classes have found a place for Zilliax in their decks.
Let's look at the popularity of classes in the metagame, and determine the changes that have occurred since the release.
Warrior and Rogue are 2 absolute leaders, and have about the same level of popularity. The Warrior made the biggest comeback. Warriors have gone from losers on the ladder to leaders of the ladder. The opposite has happened with Paladin and Priest. According to the results of the first week, these classes were at the bottom of the list.
Now let's get to the list of the most efficient classes and decks.
But we must warn you, if you are a budget player, we recommend holding off crafting any expensive cards for at least a week.
Let's begin with the main outsider. Paladin has the largest number of archetypes, but all of them are unpopular, and have bad win rates.
In our opinion, Secret Paladin has some potential thanks to a number of intriguing new cards in the latest set. But at the moment, the last bastion of competitiveness is Mech Paladin. Over the past few days, this deck has shown an increase in popularity. We found the best available build of this deck. This version costs 11,360 dust, and has a win rate of 58%.
The Priest does not feel much better in the first days after the release of Rise of Shadows. The developers have created 2 basic archetypes for priests, Resurrect and Silence.
Despite this, Unduin shows very bad results in the metagame. The most used archetype is Resurrect Priest. It has 2.5% popularity. This current version of the deck costs 6,160 dust, and has a win rate of 55%.
In 7th place is Mage. Mage has 3 archetypes, Spell, Khadgar and Dragon. The most effective archetype is currently Dragon Mage. This archetype appeared quite recently but immediately took a worthy place in the metagame.
This deck runs only 3 different spells, 2 of which are summon spells, Conjurer's Calling and Power of Creation. Both of them are incredibly potent with Khadgar. Book of Spectres is a powerful spell in this deck due to its ability to consistently draw 3 cards for 2 mana. Dragon Mage has 3.3% popularity. This particular version of the deck has a win rate of 54%.
The 6th position is held by Shaman. The Shaman class is extremely diverse, so it's very hard to guess what you've run into on the ladder.
The most effective archetypes are currently Murloc and Big Shaman. Murloc Shaman is more popular with 5% popularity. Our version of the deck has a win rate of 56%.
In 5th place is Token Druid. The basic strategy of this deck is to find various ways to secure a wide board, then use buffs like Power of the Wild and Savage Roar.
The new expansion has provided this deck with spell-based support in the form of the Forest's Aid and Blessing of the Ancients. This archetype has almost 11% popularity. This version of deck costs 5,960 dust, and has a win rate of 58%.
4th place is held by Hunter. Hunter remains one of the most effective class in the game. Despite the overall changes, Hunter has 2 effective archetypes, Mech and Midrange.
Midrange Hunter is still relevant after the rotation. It may not be the best deck, but it has one very important advantage, the cost. In general, Midrange Hunter has 4% popularity. This particular version of the deck costs only 1860 dust. This is the cheapest deck in our list.
In spot 3 is Warlock. Gul'dan received a completely new archetype of Plot Twist, but it is not entirely successful. We are also witnessing the return of Hand Warlock, but the most popular archetype again is Zoo.
Which is not surprising, Zoo Warlock is one of the true immortal archetypes of Hearthstone, having seen play since the classic days. The core goal of Zoo is to leverage cheap minions like Flame Imp and Voidwalker to quickly get board control, then abuse life tap to keep your hand full of resources. This particular version of the deck has a win rate of 66%. This is the strongest deck at the present moment.
Now it's time to talk about Rogue. Tempo Rogue immediately became one of the best decks on the first day of Rise of Shadows.
A lot of the best Rogue cards are classic, so they didn't go anywhere. Add Heistbar and Togwaggle to this, which is almost guaranteed to give you one of 4 very strong treasures, and you get a deck with great potential. In general, Tempo Rogue has 14.6% popularity. This particular version of the deck has a win rate of 58%.
And finally, in first place is Warrior. The Warrior's finest hour has finally arrived, with the Rise of Shadows. Garrosh received 2 different archetypes with positive win rates.
Somebody order a bomb?
Go away!
Somebody order a bomb? How often have you been asked this question? Bomb Warrior is a completely new archetype. There are multiple ways to build the deck, ranging from aggro to control, but the control variant is by far the most popular and powerful. This archetype has 13% popularity. Bomb Warrior has soared to become one of the most popular and effective decks in the game. This version of deck costs 12,960 dust. This is the most expensive deck in our list.
Finally, we want to ask our traditional question.
What are your impressions about the new meta? Do you think some archetypes need a nerf?
In my opinion, the token Druid is a terrible deck. I do not have enough removal to stop this many tokens. And what do you think?
We created a YouTube poll. Find the button on the screen, please vote and share your opinion in the comments.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for text editing.
We will meet in new videos.
Good luck.